Welcome everybody to episode 97. 97, is that right, Kelly?
Right.
Okay, episode 97 of the Steel Toe University podcast, formerly known as the Dirt Monkey University podcast. So if you came here to enjoy a Dirt Monkey University podcast, you are still in the right place, just a different name. So we're going to go through that. We're going to talk a little bit this evening about branding your business and rebranding your business when it's necessary. So Callie, myself, and our former partner, Stan Genetic, recently went through a rebranding opportunity. And this really dates back about 3 years. So roughly, I'd say approximately three, maybe even 3.5 years now ago, we began this venture called Dirt Monkey University, where we were designing, creating, writing educational content for primarily for contractors that were in the outdoor excavation or the landscape industry to help them improve their business. And the name Dirt Monkey University actually came from Stan Genetic. Many of you may know him from his YouTube videos, which there are many all over YouTube. I think Stan's, as we're recording this, probably somewhere around 500,000 subscribers. So that was great because we were able to leverage an already popular name and draw our audience in. And as the business began to grow, because we were really fortunate, see, our business took off almost right away. So within a year, we had reached 200 plus members within our private mastermind group, and we had a captive audience to 500,000, or at that time maybe 400,000 YouTube subscribers and about 20,000 Facebook page fans. And there came a point after about that third year, somewhere into the second and third year, where Stan was just crushing it on YouTube. He is the original Dirt Monkey. That was his name that he chose, and it allowed us to leverage our brand in a powerful way. So it was a really good combination of all three of our minds coming together to bring some solutions. But as time passed, Stan continued to go real hard on the YouTube videos, and that really just catapulted him in a direction where that is what he wanted to do for the rest of his life, essentially. And with our blessing and his blessing, everybody was able to come to an agreement and work it out so that the university would live on. But Callie and I had multiple conversations and thought to ourselves, we really need, this is a good opportunity to rename, or in this sense, rebrand the university to give it a name that represents more than just landscape contractors and solidifies the connection between the worker. And we thought steel toe, like a steel toe boot. We thought that was something that contractors all over could really get around the idea, because we all have that experience of going out in the field, wearing our steel toe boots. We wear them out, and we all have our favorite brands, our favorite ones that fits a certain way. And so we're kind of united by this piece of equipment. Really, I will call a boot a piece of equipment. It's necessary to have in your business. And we're kind of all united. We can get behind that name because we really understand, like, oh yeah, steel toe boot. It immediately takes you back to your roots. So whether you're now many years into your business and you don't really wear your steel toe boots anymore, you might just wear your tennis shoes and you're able to run your office, and you don't do as much field labor. You're probably not too far removed from the days when you got into your dirty boots at 5 o'clock in the morning and got up and went to work. And generally speaking, there's some sort of nostalgia about that. And you may be like I am on the weekends. You just want to put the boots back on, and even if it's to just mow the lawn or clean up the yard, it's fun to be reconnected. It's like a grounding to the earth. So I thought it was a really powerful name, and we didn't go through all powerful names, though, Callie. We had some. That one was the winner. I mean, should we mention any of the losers? I mean, I don't know what else we came up with. We did come up with one other. We were another name for about a week.
Peak Business Project.
Peak Business Project. Yeah. Let that roll off the tongue a few times.
Yeah.
Well, I knew we were doomed when I called my mother And, she's elderly. So it's like, Mom, guess what? We're calling it the Peak Business Project. And then, the whole process, I can hear like the RAM like churning in her head and saying like, what? Peak, say what again? And I'm like, the Peak Business Project. She says, Peak Business Project. Who's Pete? I'm like, no, Mom, Peak Business Project. So I realized very quickly. Now that was one phone. Then a few more phone calls later, like to people, like, hey, we're looking at business cards. We're the Peak Business Project. What business project? Peak with a K, like a mountain peak. And I realized we're doing a lot of explaining,
Yep.
and if this is going to get old really, really quickly. Um, so we went back to the drawing board, and the drawing board is now an internet website that does name generations. This is where there's no more real drawing board. There is, but we don't draw it. It's just for looks. So we go through this name generation tool, and we spent about a week, and we kept calling each other saying, all right, we've got deadline Monday. We're going to have the name Monday. And Monday would come and we'd be real close, and it went to Tuesday. But I would say over the course of about maybe 2.5 weeks, we came up with steel and toe, and we started connecting boot, and we hired a logo design company. We used an online platform. I believe it was 99 Designs. Um, and they created a logo for us, and it worked. We got a nice logo. We went through several iterations of that, and so here we sit today now, independent. Stan is Dirt Monkey Genetic is doing Stan Dirt Monkey Genetic YouTube channel, so he's off and running, and wish him the best. We know he's doing a great job with all of his videos, so I have no doubt he'll be successful at it. And we are now doing full-time university work, and that is our core passion. And so we invested endless hours of energy into writing and creating courses. In Cali, I think at one point there was a time when we had maybe over 200 courses. Am I off base about that?
I don't know. I mean,
Or webinars or
yeah, we had a bunch of like, free ones that people could just download and whatnot.
Mhm.
And then, courses split up. So if you didn't want the whole thing, you could buy it in individual pieces.
Okay. Um, well, yeah, it's so that's what personally me. I love doing that. I love the details. I love getting technical about how to create strategy to move you into services that you may want to try and get into. And I want to bring you into those services in a safe way, knowing that if you operate within certain boundaries and guidelines, you are bound to be profitable. My job is to basically offer you a toolbox and begin to give you courses that fill that toolbox. So, in any situation, you have multiple lessons and teachings that refer back to how to bid projects, how to create wealth, what to do with your money, what to do, follow the dollar through your business. And out of every dollar, what portion of that money needs to go to savings, to taxes, to operating accounts, to payroll, to labor, to materials, everything that you need to know to understand the math of your business, because I believe that the math is unemotional. It won't lie to you. It tells you the truth every single time. And if you pay attention, you may find that there is some mess or some tension in your business, but if you approach it from a position of courage and not fear, you will rise above. And once you get this stuff, you are going to be set on a different trajectory. So two people start off doing the same thing, bidding the same jobs, pricing things the same way, and one person decides, I'm going to listen to my elders. I'm going to take the lessons that people that have gone before me, and I'm going to change the course, and I want to go for wealth. And you can have two companies both running at $1 million a year, seemingly serving the exact same client, except one person has built millions of dollars of wealth by the time their 20-year run and their business is over, and the other person is living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet, and is maybe over leveraged in cash. We want you to be the first kind of person. And we have the tools. And we're proud. Callie's smiling. We're really proud of this stuff. Um, Callie, what are your thoughts on what we offer in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, since the beginning, our goal has been to help you run your business more efficiently so that you're not just chasing your tail and making the same mistakes over and over again, and just able to be effective in your marketing and with your employees and, with your time so that you're not stuck in your business working and you can I mean, the reason that I would say everybody, but I don't want to overgeneralize that. Most people start a business is time freedom. But I think as contractors, a lot of times they get sucked into the opposite, into just working a job and not actually having a business that gives them that time freedom. So being able to put systems into place where you can exchange time and get paid while you're on vacation because you have people who know what to do and systems in place that you're not necessarily necessary in your business.
Great point. Yeah, building systems is absolutely critical to your success. Along the way of this journey, regardless of where you're at, you may have just started a brand new business. You may have been in business for 20 years. I believe that it's never too late to pivot, to change the direction that you're going in. And we've seen a lot of companies that have come to us feeling that burden, like it's too late. I'm 55 years old. I'm still working paycheck to paycheck. I still don't have solid employees. Um, and there are solutions for you for that if you're that type of person that can turn it around because you still may have 10 good years left in you, and we can make those 10 years. A lot can happen and a lot can change in 10 years if you follow the courses that we put together. I can say with certainty that there is a lot of love and care and well thought out steps that go into creating all of these courses. You'll hear that emphasized in our talks. You'll hear that emphasized in the other people that are joining us inside of the private mastermind group. And incidentally, on a side note, if you are not currently a member of the private mastermind group, I would encourage you to head over to steeltoeu.com and take a look at the private mastermind group and consider signing up. Um, it's a collection of the best and the brightest minds that are and the brightest students that we have. And so when you have a problem, you can take that to the group and get feedback on, hey, what do I do here? Here's the situation I'm in. I'm figuring out how to load my trailer. What's the most optimum way that I can load my trailer? Where should I keep my water bottles? What type of locks should I use? And just anything under the sun related to your business. So it doesn't matter if you're in HVAC or plumbing or you're a fence builder or you're an interior kitchen remodeler or you're a swimming pool construction company. All these systems apply to anybody in the service business. We have money systems that discuss with you. We heavily we go into what profit first accounting is. In one of our past episodes, we did interview Mike McKelowitz. So you can scroll back through there and find that interview. But he wrote the book Profit First, and we're big fans of it. And that type of accounting does work. So we want to bring you not just the most leading edge technology and introduce you to what the future of the service business may be, which I will say is going to be, we're a long way off from robots or artificial intelligence taking our jobs. I think the need to have people physically come out and work on your property, on your home, in various trades is always going to be in very high demand and is somewhat even recession proof. And we're seeing that a lot during times like COVID. I mean, that's where business is actually increasing rather than decreasing. So with that, Callie, what are your thoughts on who this who this is for. Who are courses written for, and what people can benefit out of
I think that when we go set out to write a course, whether it's a systems course or like a financial, I can't remember what we called it, just like understanding financials, um, mostly service oriented businesses. So it, like you said, it can be HVAC, plumbing, fence building, electrician, I guess. Well, maybe not electrician. I don't know. I don't know electrician that well. So, but they're just for people who are running their own businesses and don't have a boss telling them what to do. And not that we're going to tell people what to do, but we can guide them on the steps to take. There's still going to be pitfalls that people make because we're all human and make mistakes. But the intention is that there's fewer pitfalls. And when a mistake is made, a recovery can be made faster because you can head, if you're in the mastermind group, you can head to the group and be like, hey, guess what I did today? I did this. And then you have a bunch of people jump on and be like, well, I did that once and this is how I resolved the situation. And then you can take all those responses in and apply it to you as you see fit.
it? Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, she's absolutely right. And electricians are welcome. They're the same. They operate under the same set of rules in terms of being small business, and really any. Again, it goes back to any small business. I mean, this really could even apply to brick and mortar businesses. We do cater it. We do steer it in the direction of home service oriented businesses, but the concepts, especially when it could, especially the financial concepts, because in every business, a car wash, you name it, every business has to manage the four main pricing components. You have got to know the difference between revenue and cost of goods sold and overhead and net profit. And overhead, I'm saying that twice because there's a whole lot of discussion that we go into about overhead. It's these mysterious bills that just keep coming and coming, and we don't always account for them correctly in our projects. You will find a ton of that in our courses, especially if you become a member of the mastermind group. So the mastermind group is what? It's like it's nothing. It's like $59 a month. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So for $60 a month, I mean, you basically have a, a downloadable online university course that's like no other university course. I mean, if you go to university, yes, you can learn your MBA, but there's not a course that's going to teach specifically contractors and that's going to be able to relate and say, I get it is tough to find employees. Let me show you what works. And we have courses that show you what works when you're finding employees. I mean, new employees are looking for a home. They want to know that there are systems in place. They want to know where they belong. So we go through that in our courses and we give you a lot of that great information. So maybe we should
But
talk about, go ahead.
I was just going to say, maybe we should pivot into the branding,
Okay.
unless you
Uh,
want to talk about something else.
no. I was thinking about that too. So we did come in here with the intention of talking about branding. And let me talk about that for a minute too. When you're branding your company, you are creating something that could very likely, if done correctly, have millions and millions of dollars in value. Now, let me explain the upside of that and potentially the downside of that. Your brand will become your reputation, how you are seen and how you are perceived. So there's just off the top of my head, it begins with your crews, your trucks, the t-shirts, the uniforms that they wear, your yard signs, door hangers, letterhead, your email, your website. You want to tie together this cohesive brand across all social media, across all of your physical clothing and where you're putting anything that's in paper out. You want it all over your letterhead. You want it in your email signatures. You want it everywhere. And if you do great work, that brand is going to get great reviews and that brand's value is going to increase. Now, what happens with many, many companies is the brand value exceeds the company value. So, for instance, let's say you're running a $500,000 business, but your brand may be a $2 million brand. And how do you know that? How do you know that? You know that because you get so slammed with phone calls and requests to do work that you can't get to. That means more people want to use you than you have the capacity to put people out there. You don't have enough resources. You don't have enough people, equipment, time, money. You lack resources. But your brand over here is calling into demand $2 million worth of work. If you could get to each one of their homes, every phone call, answer it live, go to their house, offer a proposal, you could sell $2 million worth of work. So you have a $2 million brand, but you have a $500,000 business. Our goal is to help you win on the branding side because we have lessons and education clearly designed to help you build that brand and then elevate your company, make you smarter. And to do that, you are going to need tools. You're going to need tools that are specific to installation companies, to service oriented businesses, tools they do not teach in school. In fact, I am somewhat convinced we are the only authority with online teaching a lot of these very specific tools because we want your actual deliverable value to match as closely as possible to your brand value. It's very rare that companies reach 20 years of business. They're now a 2 or 3 or $5 million brand, and they're still doing $750,000 of work, and it's all on the owner's shoulders, and there's nothing to sell. You can't sell it because you are the brand, and you want your business to be the brand. In order for the business to be the brand, it has to be able to operate and function without you. Doesn't mean you get to go to the beach tomorrow and see ya. Let's see what you guys come up with. You got to work for that. You got to instill that. The earlier you start, it's like investing. The earlier you start, the earlier you're going to get results. But I'm a big believer that it's never too late. You can always start. If you're in your late 40s, if you're in your 50s, just start tomorrow. It's just making different decisions. Within 1 year, if you do these things that we teach, your business will be dramatically different. In 3 years, I believe anybody can turn any business completely around to where systems are running the business. But it's work and it's worth it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people, because they're so ingrained in the system, they are the system, that it's more work to teach somebody else the system right now in the present time then they feel like it's worth because they're like, well, I could just do it in 10 minutes and get it done, but it's going to take me 10 days to train somebody how to do it because they're short-sighted. They can't see like, okay, I invest 10 days or whatever it is into training somebody how to do this exactly the same way I would. Obviously not exactly, give them leeway, but in the system, I mean, that can free you up for half your day or whatever it ends up being by having somebody who knows what they're doing. It's just in the short term, it feels like overwhelming and a lot of work.
Hmm. Yeah, it does. And when you have something that feels overwhelming and a lot of work, you're going to want someone to hold your hand. You're going to want friends. You're going to want people that are cheering you on and saying, yes, you're doing the right thing. Because if you go into it and someone is saying, you got this, you're headed in the right direction, it just reinforces like, okay, this work is worth it. When I tried to do that alone and I've sold myself like, yeah, this is worth it. But then you get into the meat of the work and you're 2 months into it and you're like, I'm exhausted. I keep trying, I hired an office person. I tried to train her and it didn't work out. So I fired her. So there's no good office people to have because I went through two of them. It's two of them. I would, if you trust us, we will give you the system that you need because there'll be a whole nother system about even hiring the right person. Chances are you just didn't even have a good hiring system. So let alone trying to, depend on somebody that wasn't qualified for the position to begin with. You're already coming out of the gate at a disadvantage. We want to set you up so that strategically at each stage of your growth, you are making the most wise decision you can given the amount of information that you have available to you and the amount of resources that you have available. This is a resource. We are like business coaches in a sense for a much lower price. And we connect you in to all the other people, this whole network of people that are getting it. Light bulbs are going off in these groups. They're like, aha, 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 I get this. And they are the ones that are saying, I learned this today. I learned this today. Here's what I'm doing in my business. And I'm watching this group of people rise above and just own their own business. I'm not saying own their own business. I'm saying own their own business. Take full ownership regardless of where it's at and say, this is my company. I am going to build it and leave a legacy for my name. I'm going to build it the right way, and with the goal that this becomes a wealth generator for you. I would like to see more and more service-oriented businesses selling their businesses, and many cannot because the owner is the business, and that's a problem. So we want to help you solve that. And that's our goal. That's our mission is to, you come in, you'll get this empty toolbox, not a real one because we're kind of cheap and we're not sending out real toolbox. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. You're going to get this empty virtual toolbox, and we're going to start putting tools in if you are willing. And then that's a question you have to answer for yourself. It's a big, important question. There's a book written by a gentleman named Gary John Bishop. Is he Irish or Scottish? Scottish.
I think he's Scottish, yeah.
Yeah, he's Scottish, and he's got a real good Scottish accent. What was the name of it? Yeah, it's
I don't know if
edgy.
you I don't know if we could say that on, are we gonna be a
Yeah,
R-rated?
PG-13. It's don't
Like
f
un-F
f
yourself.
un-f yourself. Okay. Great book, fantastic book. He says in the book, he says, one of the primary, most primal questions you have to answer for yourself, and this is a good question. If you're listening now, this is a great question to answer for yourself. Am I willing? What a simple yet powerful question. Are you willing? I mean, we have all this stuff here. We have the tools. We have the skills. Are you willing to spend the time and listen to it? Are you willing to invest your time and energy? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Do you want to be at retirement age, 55 years old, working in an industry that probably does, if you're wearing steel toe boots, it's probably taken a little bit of a toll on your body. These jobs tend to create achy backs, sore knees, calloused hands. I mean, it's physical work. It's like the stuff that men are made of. I mean, and women. I mean, it's work that fills you with pride. So, are you willing to do all that work for 20 years and get to the end, realize that not only don't you have $1 million in the bank account, but no one's ever talked to you about IRAs and SEP IRAs and how, because there's another employee you need to put to work right now. You need to put your money to work. So the money that you earn, we're talking about these different, every dollar, there's a cut, there's a percentage that goes into a certain bucket. One of the buckets could be tax and bills and overhead and labor, materials, all that. There's another one that you do with your profits. And a portion of those profits get reinvested into your business and reinvested into you through wealth vehicles like self-employed pension plans, uh, solo or individual 401k plans, individual IRA plans. And it also impacts how much of a salary that you take. That's a huge issue as well. So you want to have these plans maximized so your money is going to work for you. One of the most powerful tools, and we're going to be doing this perhaps on the next podcast, is we're going to look at some compound interest calculators because I love talking about money. And for the people that are 55 or in their 50s, I do it for 10 years. Like, what would happen if you took, maybe you have $50,000 saved and it's not much, but you took that and you put it into a retirement account, and how to pick certain funds that get 11% return versus 6.5% return. The difference is astronomical. It's huge. So You can build wealth at any age. It's a whole lot easier if you're younger, but most of us didn't get the young start. So if you haven't gotten the young start, I would encourage you to not spend too much time kicking yourself because it's going to be an exercise in futility. It just isn't going to benefit you. We're here to help, and our goal is to help you create wealth, and your money's going to need a job to do. All the years that you're working, you're going to need to put it to work for you, earning money. It's amazing. Your money is an employee, it can earn money for you. It just, all it has to do is sit in the right investments and use the right money so your tax burdens are lower, your incomes are higher, and you have a nest egg, something that you can retire on. And if you create these systems at the same time and truly get your business running without you. I mean, it doesn't mean you don't ever show up. You may be the visionary forever, but truly get that business running where you don't have to be involved in the day to day operation. You can sell it. Most people can't sell it because they're the brand. Allow the brand to exist on its own and allow your team to take ownership of the brand. They will take ownership of the brand if the brand doesn't bite them. It's like giving them your dog. If you gave them your dog and your dog bit everybody, no one's going to want to hold your dog. But if your dog doesn't bite and your dog is happy, everybody's going to want to grab the leash and say, I'll walk your dog. I'll take care of your business because your business is fun, because your business pays, because your business is solid, because your reputation is spotless, because you got a legacy, something that you can be proud of. That is exactly what Callie and I are doing with Steel Toe University. We are building the brand, and we are scaling it so it can be much larger, and we can have other people in certain areas of it, but we're building a brand of education. And I think what we're doing is pretty bold. I'm excited about it. I think we talk about a lot of cutting edge um, techniques in terms of how to create and amass this wealth. So we welcome everybody that is interested and is willing. If you're not willing, this is the hard part. I mean this with love. It's not time for everybody. Some people are just going to go their own path. It really wouldn't be worth it if you joined but did not use the tools, did not watch the courses, did not interact with your peers in the Facebook group. It's probably not going to be of great benefit. And rather than you say, come in and not use it and say, I didn't really get much out of it, when the story may be, I didn't really put much into it, because this requires work on effort on your part too. Um, but if you're one of those people that are willing, that says, you know what, I want that. I want the good life one day. I want financial freedom. I want peace. I don't want to have to worry about money. I want to send my kids to college. I want to pay for their weddings. I want to travel the world. I want to take care of the elderly. I want to build homes in Africa for people that don't have enough resources. I want to supply water to the thirsty parts of the world. You have the opportunity to level up and go from taking care, because when we're young, we tend to take care of ourselves. It's a very me centered life. Like, I'm young, this is my business, I'm building me, and there's some ego in it, which is great, because I'll tell you, ego can get you really far in the beginning. That really can help you. But then as you start to get older, you start to realize, like, you may have some kids, you realize, wow, second you have a child, the second you have a child, your life changes. You realize it's not about me anymore. It's about
Very quickly, you realize that.
yeah, very quickly. Like about an hour later, yeah, you realize it. Well, maybe 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you do. And then as they grow older, wait till your kids get to be about 10 and they start Googling you. And they're like, and they see your reviews online and they see the type of work you do. They see who you are and who the world thinks you are. Because to them, you've always been mom or dad. To the world, you may not be saying the same things, but it'd be nice if they were. So reputation goes hand in hand with brand. Because if you have a brand that has a tarnished or poor or bad rap, then you're going to want to possibly dump the brand and rebrand. There's some psychology to that too, and there's ways to fix it. But you have to answer the question: Am I willing? Am I willing to do the work to fix it? Am I willing to leave a legacy that is that tells a story that's better than mine. So maybe my generations past me don't have to begin from day one, ground up, starting a new business. Maybe they can walk into something that's already the $5 million brand matches the $5 million in revenue. Boom, you've got a business, an asset, something you can sell. So that's what we're talking about with freedom. We want you to experience that. And I am convinced we have the knowledge, the courses, the guidance, and we can walk you through that entire path. You can bypass all the mistakes that you would make doing it on your own. Not everyone. I mean, you're going to make some mistakes that you have to do. You're going to have some failures. Those are important. It's very important that you fail along the way. You'll learn from that, but you don't have to do it to the extent that I did it, because I did a lot of that alone. Oh, no, and many others have done it alone. You're going to be better off in a group.
So, Phil, the people listening probably want to know, why should I listen to you? What qualifications and experience do you have?
I'm dying just to give a sarcastic answer. Well, I grew up jumping trains. I'm just funny. Here's why. Here's why I would ask that you consider listening to me. First of all, feel free to Google me. My name is Phil Saros, spelled S like Sam, Arros like Sam. I'm all over Google, so dig deep. You will find, I believe, mostly positive information. You may find something negative, but go check it out. I mean, my my kids do deep web searches for me, so it's out there. Um, so do a search on me. Find a little bit about my background. You'll see that I graduated from the University of Akron with a mechanical engineering degree. Um, One of the things that you'll want to know about me is I love detail. I love factual information. I love the science of math. I think it's its own beautiful language. When I see numbers on paper, you might as well be singing a song from Hamilton. I guess that's the most popular thing out there right now. I mean, it's just, to me, it all makes sense, and it doesn't discriminate, and it's just doesn't introduce feelings or excuses. It leaves no room for excuses. It just is. And once you know the truth, once you look at it and you say, okay, here's my situation, I'm not going to see it worse than what it is, nor am I going to see it better than what it is. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't exist. That money, don't worry about it. Next week, well, we got this. I got this. It's not about doing that. Like, you may need a reality check to bring you down, or you may need a little shake to bring you up and say, you may be on the other end of the spectrum saying, like, oh my God, I've got money problems. I'm never going to get through it. What am I going to do? And be like, it's not that bad, or it's not that good. So I'm very skilled in working with companies and their specific numbers. So we do some exercise work from time to time. I will invite another company to join us on a group call. And yes, it kind of puts them in the spotlight, but we don't do it to tear them down. We do it to build them up. And because their story is guaranteed very relatable to just about everybody else who is listening in on a call like that. So I have a certain amount of exceptional expertise in the areas of math, numbers, the manipulation of numbers, and how to work numbers to your benefit. Because a lot of times people think, like, I'm not making enough money, therefore I need to charge the customer more money. And while that may seem true on the surface, that is usually very, very far from the truth. In fact, charging your customer more money is about one of the last options that I would look at when I'm assessing your lack of money. Now, I'm not saying, I mean, if you feel you have a lack of money, you probably do. I'm going to suggest that there are about 5 places you can go find money in your business that you're losing that your customer is not responsible for. So let's fix those problems first and then move on to your customer. So I worked for 5 years as a design engineer out of Cleveland, Ohio. I designed boiler heating systems, fire protection systems, cooling towers for hospitals and universities. I designed So it was all HVAC, air conditioning. A lot of the boiler systems were industrial boiler systems as well as heating systems. So they may have boiler systems for pulp and paper mills to superheat some of the pulp in order to get it to soften. Um, After that, I went on cubicle life was not for me. Let me say that. So I worked in a cubicle, and there you're getting your standard of living pay increases once a year. You'd get a review, you get a 3 or 4 or 5% salary increase, and then you'd wait another year till you get another review. And to me, I was always kind of like chomping at the bit, tapping my fingers on my desk. But I did spend the most valuable thing I did is I used to write specifications. So, as part of developing a project, my job was to design the entire project, do probably 60, 70 pages of large scale blueprints. I would design all the duct work for maybe a hospital. I would design all the duct work, all the plumbing drops, all of what size machine and cooling tower we were going to install. So I needed to know how much air each room needs. You had got to know that bathrooms take negative air. They don't push air out. They take air in because you don't want the smell of the bathroom to go out. So that there's negative air, there's positive air. It's really cool. But then we had to write these specification books, and these spec books were basically in the absence of any blueprints. If the blueprints were to catch on fire and never be recoverable, could we take a spec book and build this project? What is the written form of these blueprints? So it's like, wow. It's like, now imagine that, relate that to landscaping. You've got a landscape drawing, super useful tool with your customer. You drop it in the water and it gets all blurred and you can't see a thing. Could you write out that landscape drawing in such a way? Could you describe the scope of work step by step by step in detail in such a way that it would be crystal clear to the client as well as to your crew on how to put that job together? That is how my proposals get written. They are written like a specification book. They are written to be given in the absence of any drawing to be able to write out fully what that job is. So I have specific areas of expertise with that because I know how to write proposals that win over and over and over. I know how to handle very difficult situations that seem impossible to get out of because I've been in them and I've handled them the right way repeatedly. And I've learned how to set my ego aside to keep my commitment to serving my client. So a lot of this is about getting my ego out of the way so confrontations are diffused very quickly and very easily. I've also had many of my own personal struggles. I've walked through a number of very difficult times over the last 20 some years. And in fact, in life in general, but I draw most of it in my business life of 20 some years. There have been some very unique and specific challenges. And those have prepared me to be stronger, to be better, to be more strategic, to think like a general running and commanding an army. What is the strategy for how a smaller army can take a bigger army? How can, so I use strategies that are used for wartime to understand the psychology of people because people have very different temperaments. And if you learn, once you learn, and we teach things about the different temperaments of people, Callie's very familiar with this. And if you start to learn who other people are, you learn to read people very quickly. You know that the same sales tactic is not going to work with person A that works with person B. Person A might want all kinds of options, so you give them lots of choices. Person B might be very analytical, so you give them lots of detail. Person C might want his option and only his option. So you approach, but his option doesn't work. So you approach him and you say, I really like where you're going with that option. One thing to consider that may make it a little bit better is doing X, Y, and Z. And so you learn how to have these crucial conversations with people and really open them up. It's so much fun. It's like being Yoda. I mean, you get to like Jedi mind trick things, but it's not a trick. I mean, in the end, it's really just understanding at a super deep level who people are, what your numbers are, and you start to combine the nuts and bolts knowledge of math to this artistic skill of being able to present a project in a way that your competition can't even wrap their head around, and this deep depth of understanding of people. And when you do all of that, you're not only you're going to understand yourself better. Once you know yourself and you start to say, then you start to align yourself with a certain value system and say, okay, here's how I want to be. And here's the most powerful way I can deliver my offering to the world. And here's the most powerful way I can be as a father and a business owner, because now you're going to have to handle a personal life along with a business life. See, when you're young and you don't have kids, and you can work 80 hours a week, and you can burn the midnight oil, and you can go work Saturdays and Sundays, and that's great. And there's a time for that. You get one, two, three children, and they're in school, and they need help with their homework, and they want someone to cook dinner, and they want to see you play with them, and you want to go to their sports games. You got to learn how to balance that too, all at the same time, building wealth. So it's a lot of pieces and parts moving, and between Callie and myself and a lot of the folks in our mastermind group, we've got this thing pretty well dialed in and figured out. So now it's just a matter of passing this knowledge on to you. And so I'll ask the question again: are you willing? So, Callie, what's your experience with your qualifications? You
I was
have
afraid you were going to ask that. I'm like, oh
you have
God,
quite a long
what am I
list.
gonna say? Well, I guess my husband and I started out running a lawn care business. Is how we kind of got started. After, well, we worked for a business coach, and then in the recession of '08, we both got laid off and moved home or back to Minnesota, and started a lawn care business because we didn't want to get jobs and we had access to a lawnmower, so we did that. And then we ended up selling that and started a trucking business. So we've been doing that for 7 years now. Um, so I do all the back off. Well, not I don't do it all anymore. I used to do all of the back office, everything like invoicing and payroll and all that kind of stuff. Now I have people who help me. But so my I guess big skill is that I'm very organized, and I'm also very attention to detail because I like things right, and I do have a right in my mind of what right is and what wrong is. So I have a lot of attention to detail and just um, creating, I guess, ways for people like employees to be successful in their position by guiding them on what, specifically in my experience, on what I need them to do, but also giving them the freedom to do it the way they want to do it. And I always tell them, like, I don't care how you get from A to B, as long as we both get from A to the same B, give them that freedom um, to get there. So yeah, that's I pretty much do back end stuff a lot with Steel Toe University. I'm also have typically been in the background, which I'm getting out of my comfort zone and trying to be more in the front of the business, but it's definitely out of my comfort zone. Yes. I don't know. I think that's all right.
That was fantastic, Callie. I will add that um, her and her husband run an amazing trucking business. These two know inside and out. And prior to that, they have experience in landscaping and lawn maintenance. They get how the service business works, and they have done an insanely good job with everything that we've talked about, not just building their business, because their brand value probably matches their value of their business. They've done a very good job of scaling up, and their deliverables are impeccable. So they have the reputation, and they've done an amazing job of doing the second component of all of this, which we keep coming back to, is the wealth component. Is you got to build wealth. Um, so it's great to again, two companies can be $1 million companies. One person's broke all the time. One person has their house paid off and their vehicles paid off and their equipment paid off. Two very very similar companies. How does that happen? One has information that they're willing to use. I mean, you both may know, you both could have read a great book on how to invest. One took action. Action. It takes action. We can't take the action for you, but you will see with all the emphasis I can drum up, how badly I will want you to take that action. That's why I keep coming back to that question: are you willing? So if you stuck with us this long, I'm going to assume that you're interested and willing. So why don't we give them an offer? Can we do that? I'm putting you on the spot, but can we do an offer for like the paver course?
Why don't we could just do um for the paper course and mastermind group if you
Okay.
want, like
All right.
50% off. Well, 50% off um 3 months of the mastermind group
Okay.
and
50.
50% off paper course.
Okay. So let me explain
I
what.
better write this down.
No, that is yeah, that is really good. Callie, I wasn't expecting her to give the whole farm away, but here we go. This is awesome. This is a great, great offer. So if you have an interest in getting started in hardscape construction work, specifically building patios, driveways, fire pits, landing areas, sidewalks, pedestrian areas, vehicular traffic areas, we have an 18-part paver course that takes you step by step from where pavers come from and began all the way through how to build them. And then we give you, I mean, honestly, if you just waited till the end and got the whole spreadsheet component of it, it's powerful. We give you all these spreadsheets so that you can understand exactly what, and there's a tutorial and a demonstration on the spreadsheet so you know exactly how to correctly bid a any paver job. And this will really help accelerate your learning curve on installing hardscapes and pavers, which is probably one of the first evolutions of graduating from yard cleanups and mulching jobs and pruning jobs and maintenance. That's like the first place people tend to gravitate is their first retaining wall or their first paver job. This 18-part paver course gives you a wealth of information. I don't know how many hours it is. It's probably about 12 or 13 hours long, but roughly speaking. And then I think so. Callie and I are going to offer that at 50% off. That is going to be good for 1 week. Did we say
1 week.
one
Yep,
week?
that'll be fine.
So that will end on Wednesday, the 19th, I believe that is. That
Uh,
will end on Wednesday, August 19th, right?
yep.
Yes, at midnight.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So midnight, Wednesday, August 19th, the price return. What is the full price?
Oh, geez.
Putting you on the spot.
I don't know. I don't know what
Let
the fuck.
Cal look that up while I explain the mastermind course. So what we're offering with the mastermind course, I mentioned to you that that was $60 a month. If you were to buy the courses that are in the mastermind course, you would spend thousands of dollars. Within the mastermind course, the majority of our courses, we do have some that we charge extra for, but the majority of all of this wealth and numbers and understanding how to bid, how to estimate, understanding your financial statements, what a balance sheet is, what a profit and loss is, how to use it as a tool to make decisions, not just something that you hand over and your CPA produces it once a year for the purpose of filing your taxes. I want you to understand your financials on a very personal level. Your best friend should be your spreadsheets and your reports that you're getting from your financial data. And all of that is available inside the mastermind group. If you go over there, you will be overwhelmed, and we want you to be, and we want you to dive in and commit to getting through those basic financial courses. That will probably take you a week to go through them, but it is well worth the time. You will have a whole new perspective on money and how it is earned, made, divvied out, spread out, your liabilities for taxes, whether you should take a salary, how much of a salary you should take. We go into every last detail of it, and we talk a lot about money. All those courses are available to you inside the mastermind group, and it sounds like we're going to, until next Wednesday at midnight, be extending an offer to every listener here to join that group for that would be $30, right? Roughly $39.99 or $39.98, something like that. Um, and that is half price for the first 3 months. There's an insane amount of value in there. And there's also that peer to peer networking group, and that is happening on a daily 24/7 basis. That is an opportunity. I want you to practice two things in there. Two things I want you to practice is going to the group and posting a question, asking for help. It's something that entrepreneurs don't do easily. We don't tend to say, I need help. And I need help are your three words that will become your best friend. I would practice saying, I would find a reason tomorrow. If you don't join the mastermind, if you don't get the paper course, I would go out tomorrow and find a reason to ask somebody for help. Find something you don't have full, complete A to Z understanding in, and go ask somebody for help to help fill in for the where you feel you're short on knowledge. Then I want you to practice offering help. What we're teaching you to do is go from a me-centric world, a world that is centered around you, which usually is somewhat based in fear because you're afraid of growth. Like you were able to start a business, but now you've reached this threshold maybe where you've got one employee and it seems impossible. It will only happen to other people that they will move beyond that, but you just can't grow beyond this point. It's a threshold. And what you need to break through a threshold is new information, new tools, new skills. So I want you to go and practice asking for those skills. And then once you get those skills, I want you to do something bigger in life. And that's to contribute and to commit to growth and contribution. And that is helping other people reach. Because if you think you've learned a lot getting knowledge from somebody, wait until you give knowledge to somebody. Then you will the teacher does become the student. You learn more giving it away than you do taking it in. So as soon as you learn it, turn around, teach it to somebody else. Again, you don't have to join our mastermind group to do that pattern, but if you do join the mastermind group, it's going to be like on steroids, so you're going to get a whole lot out of it. And that is my plug for both the mastermind as well as a paper course, both 50% off until next Wednesday night at midnight.
Yeah, and I'll say that mastermind group members do get the an opportunity to purchase a paper course for even less, for $99. The full price for the paper course is $399, so it's 25. They essentially pay
Okay.
25% of full price. But I'll make a page on our website. It'll just be steeltoeu.com/podcast, and
Okay.
both offers will be there.
Okay, so steeltoeu.com/podcast. I'm frozen, by the way. Do you see me frozen or do you see my mouth moving?
No, you're frozen.
I'm frozen. Ladies and gentlemen, I have frozen not in an awkward position. Sometimes I freeze. Like if you ever hit freeze or pause, you always end up freezing like with one eye. I'm a little goofy looking, but not entirely. So, all right. I'm not really frozen in real life, but let me see here. Hold on. Let me just practice. Let me see if I'm back.
Now you're just a black screen.
Now I'm just a black screen. All right, hold on. Wow, this is really lagging. Well, that maybe my
That's our sign, I think.
me I'm talking too much. So I tend to do that. I apologize. As you can tell, I'm very, very passionate about the subject matter that we are talking about. I am even more passionate about seeing contractor. I am so sick and tired of seeing talented people struggle to when they're doing amazing, beautiful work, but they're not getting paid what they're worth because they don't know all the costs that are incurred on a project. It's just a lack of a resource. You need some knowledge. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you reap the fruits of a good planting and a good harvest. So I want you to plant the right seeds. I want you to do the right thing. I want you to have a business that has an insane brand value and a deliverable that matches that brand value. I want you to be wealthy, happy, and I want you to give back to the world, pay it forward. So if you're on board with that, if you have answered the question, yes, I am willing, I'm going to expect to see you in the mastermind group as well as now getting the paver course. Do the two go hand in hand, or can they buy one without the other?
They can buy either. I was just saying that there's a bigger discount as a member of the mastermind group for the paver course.
Bigger than 50%?
Yeah, it's like 75%.
Okay. All right. So this is a good point. If you think you want the paver course, you might as well join the mastermind group because you're going to get 50% off the mastermind group and then you're going to get 75% off the paver course. So you're far better off joining the mastermind group and staying with it. So with that, I hope to see some new members. If you like what you've heard, please feel free to share this podcast. Please, we'd love for you to review it. We'd appreciate your honest feedback and any review that you may have for us. Please leave that. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and you're going to be able to get all of our podcast updates in addition to any videos that we are posting there. We are just building that out now. So your like and your subscription was very welcomed, along with the notification bell. So every time we post a video, you will be notified of that and you can tune in. So we're going to be doing this every week, right, Kelly?
Yes.
Every single week we are going to be on here talking to you. Well, this is fun. Next time we're coming up, we'll probably have some nice podcast music. I expect we're going to be having some sponsors for the show as well. So I am really excited about that. And with that, I am complete for this evening. Would you like to close us out, Callie?
I guess I would just say come back again next week. And I think you said we're going to talk about compound interest. Is that right?
Yes, that is a fun conversation. Let's talk about compound interest as it applies to part of the business owner's wealth saving plan. So I'm going to kind of talk about wealth saving. So part one will answer the question, are you ready to save wealth for wealth? I mean, do you have some debts that you have to pay? Do we need to address some debt issues? Then what do we need to do to start getting you wealthy? And we're going to be talking about owner salary, how much it should be. If you think that you would like to be a guest on the show and talk about your specific situation, I promise you it will benefit many others because people are going through that. So if you would like to talk about your specific situation and the money you're making, I'd be happy to have you on as a guest and we can talk about your business. Just leave us a note and let us know and we will get that scheduled. But thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. See you next week.